Hello and welcome Luminers. In this video, you will learn the basic structure and functions of the mind to help you become more aware of yourself. The Laalttain aspires to psychoeducate India so that all of us can understand the necessary details about our mind. Just like we know the basics of our body taught to us in school through biology. Psychology, like biology, is integral to understanding ourselves and the world around us and must be taught to us. This video aims to make that happen for all of us and make this knowledge accessible. Philosophers like Hippocrates and Socrates, as well as Indian Vedas and Buddhist scriptures, have emphasized the mind's role and the profound importance of it in human life. Building on this foundation, early psychologists like Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung introduced us to the groundbreaking ideas of the possibility of the subconscious and the unconscious mind. Today, these terms are commonly used in our daily lives. But do we truly understand their meaning? So first off, let's briefly visit the theory introduced by the father of modern psychology, Mr. Sigmund Freud. He demonstrated the mind as an iceberg. The visible part above the surface of water represents the conscious mind. These are the thoughts which we are aware of and actively engage with. However, shown in this diagram, the larger part of the iceberg actually lies beneath the water, symbolizing the subconscious and the unconscious mind, which are not directly accessible to us in our daily lives. Now ask yourself, can nature design something as significant as the subconscious mind only to let it go for a waste? Is all of this just meant for nothing? Absolutely not. It is in fact one of the strongest and the most influential parts of our life, shaping our behaviors, beliefs, and our emotional responses. Over the years, many theories have emerged since 1800s as psychology continues to evolve as a science. The theory we rely on here is by John Kappas, which is particularly comprehensive. It offers profound insights into hypnotherapy and allied therapies focused on the subconscious mind, making it an invaluable tool for understanding and influencing the human behavior. Okay, so let's understand the theory given by John Kappas, which is called the structure of the mind. Imagine the mind as a circle divided into sections. At its core, there are three primary components: the primitive mind, the subconscious mind, and the conscious mind. Let's understand this one by one. First off is the primitive mind. This is the part of the mind we are born with. What does it do? What is the primitive mind responsible for? Well, I have divided its functions into 4 points. First, it is responsible for instincts. Instincts are automatic responses designed for survival, such as withdrawing your hand from a hot surface without conscious thought. Second, it is responsible for phobias and fears. Well, it is believed that two basic fears that many psychologists claim each individual is born with are the fear of loud sounds and the fear of falling. Third, it is responsible for evolutionary memories. And fourth, it is responsible for basic survival mechanisms such as the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn responses. Let me just take a little detour to explain these 4 survival responses because this is important for us moving forward. An example for a fight response would be a person who feels threatened in a heated argument may raise their voice or become very defensive. A flight response, whereas, would be when someone is uncomfortable in a social situation, might find an excuse to leave the room. Freeze response, a person facing a sudden car accident might be unable to move or react and completely freeze in the moment immediately. Lastly, we have the fawn response. Say in a toxic relationship, a person might excessively appease other people just so that he can avoid conflict. That's a fawn response. Well, it's important to know that while these concepts of fight and flight are part of Kappas's original framework, freeze and fawn were added later by modern psychological studies, particularly in the context of trauma responses. These automatic responses help us respond to threats and stay alive, both physically and psychologically. So, I won't be delving deep into the explanation of primitive mind any further because it is like a read-only file. Well, what do I mean by that? It is almost as if a fixed part of our mental programming. And therefore, we don't focus much on it for the purpose of therapy because it cannot be changed instantly. What we want to, however, focus more on is the structure and functioning of the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. So let's quickly go to what is the subconscious mind. It is the second division of the circle. Think of subconscious mind as the mind storage room. It keeps your memories, emotions, and overall experiences of life. It works automatically, shaping how you react to the world without even realizing it. For instance, the fragrance of gajar ka halwa might instantly make you feel warm and happy if it reminds you of your grandmother's cooking. On the flip side, if you were often criticized as a child, you might carry the feelings of self-doubt even as an adult today. The subconscious mind does not forget these experiences. Rather, it uses them as important data or reference point to guide your actions and emotions in your daily life. Now, there are some really interesting features about the subconscious mind. First off, the subconscious mind doesn't seem to have any space or time dimension. Wait, what? What does that mean? It means that it experiences events as if they are happening in the present moment, regardless of when they actually occurred. For example, a childhood memory of your 6th birthday party is still fresh and alive for the subconscious mind, as if no time had passed. And sometimes we may display the same intense emotional reaction in adulthood which actually happened years back. This timeless quality of the subconscious mind is what makes unresolved emotions or traumas in the subconscious so impactful, as they continue to influence our behavior in the present time. Another principle of the subconscious mind is that it works on law of repetition, meaning the behaviors, the thoughts and the beliefs which are reinforced repeatedly become deeply ingrained over a period of time. For example, if I repeatedly experience that people keep fooling me, then I make a self-belief that I am a fool or maybe the world is too harsh. Another example would be that even though we all factually know that smoking is injurious to health, but the subconscious mind may store smoking in a positive folder because the initial experience of smoking was very good, because as a teenager it got the person entry into the cool group of the school. So what happens here is a recurring thought or behavior pattern, whether it is positive or negative, is adopted by the subconscious mind as truth simply because it was repeated so many times. Remember that the subconscious mind is not much of a logical or a factual mind, so it may just accept even illogical things to be true. The third and very important aspect of the subconscious mind which we need to be aware of is that its language is symbolic, which is why it processes emotions, images and metaphors more rather than literal words or logic. This is the reason why dreams and visualization exercises often serve as a bridge for the subconscious mind to convey messages about unresolved emotions and desires in therapy. Now, you must be wondering that what makes us logical if subconscious mind is all about experiences of pain and pleasure? Basically, if the subconscious mind is a child, then who is the adult? Well, the answer is it's the conscious mind. It's the third section of our circular drawing of the mind. This is the logical reasoning part of us. It handles departments like decision making, willpower, and critical thinking. It acts as the active part of our awareness, the part that you use to analyze problems, make plans, and focuses on the present moment. For instance, when you decide to try a new skill or resist a tempting snack, this is when you're using conscious mind to guide your actions. Unlike the subconscious, the conscious mind processes only one thing at a time, which is why focusing becomes a bit of a problem during multitasking. The conscious mind receives information from 4 places: the outside environment that you are all exposed to, the conscious mind itself, the subconscious mind, and the body. All these inputs and information are integrated so that the conscious mind can help us analyze, decide, and act. In the initial circle, if you remember, I drew 3 components of the mind: the conscious, the subconscious, and the primitive mind. However, now allow me to add one more, which is the line between the conscious and the subconscious mind. This line is called critical mind or critical filter. It is named as a filter because it acts as a gatekeeper. It functions like a sieve, like a mesh, carefully evaluating incoming information and deciding whether the new information aligns with what is already stored in the subconscious or not. This filter develops around the age of 8 or 9, enabling us to analyze and question information rather than absorbing it passively. This is the reason why children are highly impressionable, because they lack the ability to analyze or filter information critically before the critical mind develops. After the critical mind matures, the conscious mind becomes more analytical, helping us to differentiate between ideas and accept or reject them based on logic and reasoning. Let me help you understand these concepts with a relatable imagery. Imagine that you're walking into a library. The ground floor where you first enter represents the conscious mind. It's bright, it's active, and full of current materials that you are reading nowadays. The staircase that is leading downward to the basement represents the critical filter, a sort of a checkpoint that decides what information goes deeper and what remains at the ground floor itself. Now, the basement is like the subconscious mind, where books and folders are neatly stored. These represents your memories, habits, and emotions, waiting to be accessed when needed. Deeper within the basement lies the restricted section, representing the primitive mind, housing instincts and evolutionary memories which are deeply locked away and rarely accessed by the conscious mind. Now that we know the structure of the mind, let's understand how it functions in simple terms. First, information from the surrounding and the experiences reaches the conscious mind. The critical mind or the critical filter acts as a sieve and helps us evaluate the information. Only the relevant or the repeated information is sent deeper to the subconscious mind. Rest of it is discarded. This entire process works through 3 simple steps. Step number 1, identification. Your senses pick up the information, for example, a song, a smell, or sight. It identifies it. Step number 2, association. Your mind then connects this incoming information to a past memory or a past event. Think of it as accessing folders from the basement. Like how the smell of halwa might remind you of the folder of grandmother. And third, response. Based on whatever processing has been done, the connection with the folder, you will feel or act a certain way, like feeling happy or nostalgic. In easy terms, think of it as folders we all have in our computers and phones. Say we have a positive folder and a negative folder. In the positive folders, when an experience is linked to a positive emotion, it reinforces behavior, like promotes growth and well-being. For example, if a child receives encouragement for asking questions, they may associate curiosity with confidence and enthusiasm. This will foster a love for learning and asking questions. However, in the negative folders, the opposite happens. Negative experiences paired with strong emotions can create limiting beliefs and fears. For instance, if a child is scolded for making mistakes, they may associate failure with shame, leading to fear of trying new things. I'm going to give you many examples now so that this concept becomes very clear to you. A person who grew up with loving pets might associate dogs with warmth and joy. On the other hand, someone bitten by a dog as a child might experience fear when encountering a dog. These associations become automatic responses stored in the subconscious mind. Another example is when someone might subconsciously associate chocolate cake with comfort. Due to childhood birthday celebrations, we usually associate cakes with happy moments. Despite consciously deciding to avoid sweets for health reasons, the subconscious may drive a strong craving for the chocolate cake whenever one is feeling stressed or upset. This is where food cravings and comfort food comes from. A person who associates success with stress might subconsciously avoid opportunities for advancement. This is example 3. I hope it is very clear to you how identification, association, and response works. Let me circle back to the beginning of this video now. We are to understand how hypnosis works and why the theory of the mind by John Kappas is important to understand it. When the critical mind becomes overwhelmed by too much information, it can break down. Imagine waking up late and rushing to work. You glance at the clock and immediately feel a wave of stress. As you scramble to get ready, every small hiccup like spilling the coffee or forgetting your keys adds to your mental load. Then you step outside to find bad traffic and biting cold morning. These stressors bombard your mind with what we call as message units. With so many message units happening at the same time, your critical filter, the part of your mind responsible for keeping you calm and logical, basically starts to weaken. In this overwhelmed state, you may snap at a colleague or make an impulsive decision, reacting emotionally rather than thinking things through. This is how an overloaded mind can impact your day-to-day behavior. In such states, people become more suggestible, similar to how young children absorb information without the critical analysis. The important word here is suggestible. What I mean by this is that the subconscious mind becomes accessible and very open to new suggestions. This is the principle which is used behind hypnosis, where a professional hypnotherapist uses their techniques to overload the critical filter, leading to a state of hyper-suggestibility. Now, the therapist helps the client to explore past experiences from the subconscious mind, heal them, and finally redo the wrong association, basically shifting the folders of the positive and the negative with the experiences. Now, let's come to some fun aspects, my favorite part about the subconscious mind. It is 6,000 times stronger than the conscious mind and makes up for a staggering 88% of the mind's complete functioning. This means that the subconscious mind is the true powerhouse, quietly steering much of what we experience and achieve in life, and we are so many times not even aware of it. While the conscious mind holds our wishes and plans and logics, it's the subconscious mind that often dictates the final result in our daily life. For example, imagine someone consciously wants to succeed in their career and wants to earn a lot of money. But the subconscious mind actually has a wrong association with money. The money can cause unhappiness in the family or make me very egoistic, and thus the subconscious belief is very self-sabotaging. It leads to behaviors like procrastination or turning down opportunities. Using hypnosis, we can introduce new, empowering ideas to the subconscious, gradually replacing the outdated patterns and aligning it with our conscious goals. This is the reason the practical applications of hypnotherapy go way beyond our imagination, and that's why I call it the future of healing. I hope the theory of the mind and the overall explanation of the conscious and the subconscious is very clear to you guys. I wish you all the best.